All right, it's another lovely Wednesday afternoon, and of course, it's my pleasure to have you join us on yet another beautiful episode of Flipside on independent television, reaching you live from that ancient city. You know, I love to call it that city where the king is truly king. Now, for starters, Flipside is a show where we get to look at issues differently. Okay, so rather than just focus on the very obvious perspective, we try to look at things from a different perspective. My name is Harry Igboje, and of course, it's my pleasure to have you join us on this lovely episode of the show. Like you already know, I never do this alone, so I've got two gentlemen with me in the house, and we're going to be taking a look at a very interesting topic together. Now, to my far left is a friend, a homie, and of course, a sports analyst. All right, he's from our sports desk, and of course, the news and current affairs department. He goes by the name of Osemudiame Usagi. It's good to have you join us, Ose.
Thank you very much, Harry, and it's a pleasure being here.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a pleasure having you, on board. And of course, seated next to him is someone else who's also in the field of recreation, but of course, a different, side of recreation. He is a swimming instructor and so much more. I'm going to let him do the introduction himself. He goes by the name of Kelly Ogiesoba. It's good to have you in the house, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
All right, gentlemen, we have a very interesting topic. All right, interesting in the sense that it's something I believe a lot of persons don't pay much attention to. Okay, it's something that has to do with recreation. So maybe we should start by defining recreation. As a swimming instructor, maybe you will have a very rich definition of recreation. So tell us, how would you define recreation?
Okay, thank you once again for having me. My name is Ambassador Kelly Ogiesoba. I'm a swimming instructor, and I'm also a lifeguard trainer. Recreation is any activity, whether physical or mental, that we engage in for fun and realization. Okay. And there are quite a number of activities that we can engage in, either mentally or physically. It could be swimming, it could be football, it could be games, it could be cooking, it could be even the common Ludo that we play. There are quite a number of recreational activities that we engage in. Sometimes we engage in these activities and we don't know that we're actually engaging in recreational activities. But in as much as it requires some physical activities or mental activities or challenges, then it's a recreational activity.
All right, that's a very rich definition, if you ask me. Thank you so much for that. Now, Ose, Nigerians are known the world over to be very, very hardworking.
Yes.
We are popular and famous for our hustling spirit. Hence, in any part of the world where Nigerians are mentioned, you already know what you're expecting, right? Mm-hmm. The hustling spirit, the never say die spirit.
Yeah.
So whether it's in the US, whether it's in Europe or any part of the world, they are always busy trying to make ends meet, trying to earn a living. Now that's a very admirable spirit, if you ask me. But the question is, do they, what's the word now? Do they recreate as much as they hustle? Do they unwind as much as they hustle?
I mean, like you rightly said, Nigerians and that hustling spirit, I mean, it's almost like it's inborn. Anywhere you find Nigerians, absolutely. They always want to excel, also make themselves known. But talking about recreation, it's not something that is very big on us Nigerians. And given the sort of where we find ourselves, everyone just wants to focus on the hustle, maybe get a few hours of sleep, and that's the most that for a lot of people is their recreation.
For the average.
And when you wake up in the morning, you're off again till evening or night again. So, I mean, when you ask a lot of people what they do for fun or recreation, a lot of people might be, what is recreation or what's the important? It's not going to put money in my pocket or something like that. But as it's commonly said, health is wealth. Yeah, so as much as you want that money in your pocket, in your account, you also need to consider your health as well. And that is where recreation comes. So, I mean, if you meet about 10 people right now and who are into recreation and you ask them what exactly they do for recreation, I'm sure sporting activities, you get sporting activity from about 8 or 9 of those people. It doesn't matter, it could be basketball, football, tennis, whatever, just something to get your mind off that stress for a bit of moment to just re-exercise or rejig your mindset. It could actually stimulate your mind to actually get you thinking properly once again. Just something to actually ease yourself off the body, stress that you go through. I mean, it's almost like it's clockwork.
Yeah,
every day you do that. So just a little something to get your mind off that usual hustle and bustle, and that is where recreation comes in. And it is very important that we as Nigerians, especially Nigerians, know about this and get to key into it exactly to continue to build ourselves mentally and, of course, health-wise.
I'm actually glad you made mention of the need to ease one's mind. Okay, I think that's an aspect of this discourse that I think we're going to be taking a look at. All right, it says impact on physical and mental health. Now we're going to be taking it one at a time. So let's begin with physical health. All right, Ambassador Kelly. Physical health and recreation cannot be taken apart. I believe they go hand in hand. What is the effect of stress on physical health? Let's begin from there.
Okay, that's a good question. You just asked if Nigerians actually engage in recreational activities as we ought to, and the response is a negative one. And the reason is simply because we, in this part of the world, we really do not understand the importance of recreational activities as it relates to our physical health. Recreational activities, it's very important in the sense that it could impact on our cardiovascular health, our endurance, strength, flexibility, and all that. In the field of medicine, you would agree with me that there are a lot of illnesses, there are a lot of diseases that are tied to stress.
True.
And so we only know how to make money, but we don't know how to relieve ourselves of stress. And there's something I know about Africans, there's something I know about Nigerians. We like to hustle. There's a bit of a desperation when it comes to making money. But I think it's important that we balance things up, engage in recreational activities, because the benefit on our health is massive. Yeah. You want to, for instance, we hear of diabetes, we hear of cardiovascular diseases and every other kind of obesity. All of these are diseases that are linked to stress. And so if we can learn how to balance our work life, I'm sure would get free from some of those diseases, relieve ourselves from some of those life-threatening diseases, because stress could be very, very dangerous when it comes to our health. So it's very important as it relates to our health.
All right, thank you so much. Ose, he made mention of the desperation. You know, of course, we look at, we choose to see it as a hustling spirit, but whether we like it or not, it seems to have a negative effect on us, right? Everybody wants to make it. It's not a bad thing, right? But there seems to be this rat race to succeed, especially when the year is coming to a close like this. Everyone is trying to, make ends meet. Everyone is trying to make up for the rest of the month. Yeah. The rest of the year, like from January till December. So they're trying to do everything possible to ensure that they're able to make up for all the months that they were not able to meet up. Now, what do you think is responsible for that? That get-rich-quick syndrome, or that get-rich-by-all-means syndrome?
Okay, I mean, you talk about get-rich syndrome. It's something that it has been on for a very long time. And when you look at it, especially, it's not even about the younger generation. I mean, it seems to even go beyond that a bit. And also people who are more into getting rich quick, or however you put it. But I believe societal pressure plays some part in that. We have, you could have a group of 5 friends who were together from maybe primary, secondary school down to university all together, and then they graduate. Maybe about 4 of them are already doing very well for themselves, but there's just that one, and they only see each other together once in a while, and then there's that one who isn't exactly doing so well. There'll be, in a way, that sort of pressure on you to, like, whatever it is you're doing, you want to make sure you want to be at the level of these other friends of yours. You don't know how exactly they got it, or the pain that they have had to go through on their own to ensure that it got
so you're attributing this to competition, unhealthy competition?
Yeah, unhealthy competition, that's the word. It's about pacing yourself, not moving beyond your limit. I mean, you made mention of something of trying to cover lost ground from previous months. Maybe someone who usually worked, say, from 8 to 3, or through from January down to November, it gets to December and you're trying to work yourself 7 to 7 or 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to have an adverse effect on you. So that is something you have to watch out on. Health, it's something you have to prioritize every time, because you are doing all the hustle and bustle, trying to make all the money. If at the end of the day you fall ill, majority of that money you are making, you're still going to use it to take care of your health. But if you engage in recreation, just something to ease yourself, ease your mind, ease your stress, you find out that you'll be spending little to nothing on your health in terms of how you actually go and get drugs. Because if it gets very serious, you have to go to the hospital and all that, getting drugs. But on your own, if you are watching yourself, engaging in recreation, you find out that you'll be spending little or nothing in terms of taking care of your health, engaging in sporting activities, building your cardiovascular, mental health and all that. You'll be taking a very key, important note of those things without necessarily taking or paying attention to them. So that is one thing that we need to also make mention of and really take good attention into.
All right, Ose, you are a sports enthusiast, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure you understand what it means to engage in some of these physical activities. Now, some persons are scared of the hazards of engaging in some of these physical activities. For instance, football is something I used to be scared of because of the injury factor, right? You want to play football, but you're scared that you could, sustain a terrible injury that would, send you to the hospital. What do you think can be done to manage that fear amongst, people who would want to engage in physical activities, but, they're just scared?
Oh, well, in terms of allaying or fear from people, I can tell you that every sporting activity has, maybe for example now, like an umpire, someone who is going to regulate activities wherever you are. I mean, like our guest here, he's a swim instructor and also swimming coach swimmer, and then we also have a lifeguard instructor. So even for swimming, you have lifeguards for people who are scared of water, and that is what lifeguards are for, to ensure that whatever it is you're doing, you don't harm yourself. If they find out you're in trouble, they will come to your aid. So it's also similar in terms of physical sporting activities. You have someone who's going to be there to watch you, especially if you are not at a level where you are good enough to watch yourself completely, especially for swimming. That is one aspect where you always need a lifeguard, especially when you're not very good for yourself, and that is where it comes in. So for people who have fears in terms of doing sporting activities, just know that wherever it is that you'll be doing it, make sure you have someone, or there will be someone, if it's a competent place, there will be someone where who is going to make sure that your safety is paramount. So you can actually get to learn about this sporting activity. You can get to improve yourself on it with the mindset that, okay, I can get better, and even where I'm making mistakes, there will be someone to correct me to ensure that I don't make that mistake tomorrow, and I can continue to improve on myself. So if you want to engage in sporting activities and you have that fear in your mindset, I would like you to just take it off and go out there and get in yourself into any recreational sporting activity you want. You can actually pick for yourself. If you are scared of maybe football, you can choose another one. So it's up to you to actually choose for yourself, because there are so many sporting activities, a wide variety for you to actually pick from. So pick the one that you feel will be best for you, and that's something
the one you think you can
exactly,
okay.
And that's where you can continue to build.
But now let's look at the factor of passion here. Some persons are just naturally passionate about football. Okay, but if you take a look at the kind of football that we play, in our localities, in the streets, right? Sometimes I'm personally scared on behalf of those guys, because you don't have medics, you don't have professionals on ground, to attend to them in cases of emergency. Yeah. So how do I, for instance, if I want to play football, engage in that kind of a match, when I know that if an injury comes, nobody will be able to help me? Like when I was in school, some of my friends will go play football in the field and they'll come back with some very, very serious injuries. And I'll be like, but I told you guys not to go. So, I mean, how do you handle that?
Oh, well, like I said earlier, participating in sporting activities in a competent environment. And not forgetting, especially for football, there are ways you can, on your own, protect yourself. Make sure you have a football boot, have your shin guard with you, and then be well kitted. I mean, goes a long way. If you are going to be playing football with barefooted, with people who are wearing boots, you are putting yourself at a big risk. You don't even need medics around to tell you that this could actually spell trouble.
And then you see some persons wearing, big boots, and others are wearing boots that are not so big. Like, how do you cope with somebody wearing a bigger boot?
I mean, those are the things we are talking about. We are seeing some are not wearing boots, and then those that are wearing boots, you see some wearing oversized or undersized or something. So you are basically just ensure you are, whatever it is you are doing it properly. I think that's plays a big part for you yourself to actually take care of your own part before you start needing medics for in terms of higher injuries
Levels,
yeah, exactly. So on your own part, you have to take care of yourself. Make sure you kit yourself properly to engage in the sports and activities, and I believe you'll be good.
All right, thank you so much. We're still on to Flipside on independent television, and today we're taking a look at recreation, impact on physical and mental health. Now, whether you like it or not, mental health, physical health, you cannot talk about them without, recreation, because it goes a long way to boost them. All right, we shall be going on this break, and when we return, the program continues. Please stay tuned. All right, it's still Flipside on independent television, and just before we went on that break, Ose was taking us through the ways to manage the risk factors involved in, physical activities such as football, right? Like I said, I personally was scared as a child because of these unforeseen circumstances. Imagine sustaining an injury and there are no medics on ground to attend to you. So that was a really scary experience for me. Now, Kelly, you are a swimming instructor, right? I'm sure you've had persons come around, to maybe learn how to swim. Some don't learn. Some just tell themselves they can, and then they jump into the pool and then start swimming. What happens in a crisis situation? Let's say there is a situation where somebody is drowning and there are no lifeguards around. Are there any such situations? Like no lifeguards, no professionals around to help? Are there such situations?
Of course, there are situations like that.
Okay.
Apart from being a swimming instructor, I'm also a lifeguard trainer, so I understand what plays out in public swimming pools, especially in this part of the world where we don't take safety seriously. There are swimming pools, for instance, that admit the public swimmers, but there are no lifeguards on duty. Not having a lifeguard on duty is even a minor aspect of it. The larger picture is where you have a lifeguard and the lifeguard is not trained.
Okay.
Most times what you have in these swimming pools is just a guy who knows how to swim. You know how to swim, then come be a lifeguard. No training, no certification.
So there's supposed to be an organized training?
Of course. You can't be a lifeguard, you can't be a professional lifeguard without a training.
Okay.
It's an intensive training because you're dealing with the lives of people. Like you just mentioned emergency. If there's an emergency, someone can actually drown and die. I've had to perform a CPRO to resuscitate someone in a swimming pool, even though I was not a lifeguard on duty. I was not being paid to do that. I used the swimming pool for my swimming lessons as at that time. So I came to swim, and there was an emergency. The guy who knows actually that I'm a professional had to come, tap me and say there's somebody under the swimming pool.
And you rose to the occasion.
I actually did, and it was CPRO that saved the day. And so there are instances like that where it's either there's no lifeguard or there's a lifeguard, the lifeguard is not trained. So it's a critical situation.
So you're saying that an untrained lifeguard might not be able to help
of course,
in such a situation?
Of course, an untrained lifeguard may not be able to help in the sense of preventing the incident. That's the first thing. You must prevent the drowning. Okay. If you are not able to prevent the drowning, in HSC, I'm also a HSC trainer. In HSC, we say, even though we do...
For the sake of those who might not know, what does HSC mean?
HSC means Health, Safety and Environment.
Okay. All right.
So even though we do everything to prevent an accident, but sometimes accidents still do happen. Yeah. So when it happens, what do you do? That's where emergency response come in. So a lifeguard should be able to prevent an accident, and that's the most important aspect of it. Then when an incident happens, what do you do? How do you launch a rescue? How do you administer simple first aid? Do you even know how to perform cardiopulmonary resuscitation, otherwise known as CPRO? These are very critical aspects of lifeguarding.
All right, as a professional, I would like you to throw more light on what the training entails. I'm talking about the training, to become a lifeguard. Let's say I want to become a lifeguard now. Okay. What kind of training do I have to undergo?
Okay, to become a lifeguard, you need a training, like I said before, to be able to prevent drowning situations.
Okay.
And so in the scheme, you would know how to do what we call surveillance. You should be able to survey the swimming pool when there are there are swimmers
Okay.
in the pool, then you should be able to scan and ensure that you spot danger even before an incident happens, and you respond. There are several ways to rescue someone who is drowning. But my emphasis is always preventing drowning.
Okay.
Because as a good swimming instructor, or sorry, as a good lifeguard, you should be able to know that an incident is about to happen. Someone, for instance, who doesn't know how to swim, is not a strong swimmer, and is gliding towards the deep end of the swimming pool, you should be able to be proactive enough to stop the person from going to the deep end. So a lifeguard must be trained to spot a danger. And so he must be able to scan, he must be able to ask what we call the what if question. What if this goes wrong?
So
what if that?
Spontaneous.
He must be spontaneous.
Okay.
And so he must know how to do that. He must also know how to launch a rescue attempt. This is in the model. You know, how do you rescue? It's not in every situation you jump into the pool to rescue someone. That sometimes you just need to throw an aid to the person in as much as the person is active, then pull the person to safety. Sometimes you need to jump in and all that. All of these are what forms the training. The part of the training as a lifeguard. And what is also very important is how to administer first aid. You must learn first aid. You can't be a lifeguard and don't know how to administer first aid. From simple bleeding control to broken bones to spinal cord injury, and the big one, CPR. So when somebody drowns and you're able to bring out the person and put the person on the pool deck, what do you do to resuscitate the person? I've done that, like I said before, on one occasion. We do theory and practical in class, but I can tell you, in real life situation, it's a bit tricky. So this is what a lifeguard has to learn. The module, the scheme is elaborate. So when you take a lifeguard through this training, then he's prepared. He's not only able to spot danger and respond spontaneously. When emergency occurs, he's able to respond also, administer first aid, CPRO, as the case may be.
Okay, does the training also entail the knowledge of the depth of the pool? Let's say somebody is about to swim, or let's say you are a lifeguard, for instance. Are you supposed to know the depth of the pool?
Of course.
Just so you are able to, you know.
Of course, you caution people. One of the responsibilities of the lifeguard is to talk to swimmers. As they come in, you let them know the depth of the pool. Of course, it's going to be labeled. The depth is supposed to be labeled, but you need to talk to them. Let them know the depth of the swimming pool. And the way you also respond in shallow water is different from the way you respond as a lifeguard in the deep water. So you need to understand all of this.
Okay, now these are festive times, right? And of course, people are getting closer to the Christmas and New Year season. Now, do you think people are participating in swimming, for instance, like compared to before this period, let's say from the period of January till now? Are people showing interest in swimming as compared to before?
Absolutely. If there's any singular recreational activities that people engage in during this festive period, is swimming.
Okay.
There are people who will not go to the swimming pool from January to November, but when it's Christmas period, everybody wants to swim. From children, from kids to adults, they want to swim. I wish I can show you some pictures of some swimming pools during the festive period. Christmas Day, New Year Day, it's so crowded. And that's another challenge. We should ensure that we don't go to overcrowded swimming pools. So swimming is one activity that attracts a lot of people in this period. A lot of people. And we must be very careful. I must reiterate that we must not attempt to swim in an overcrowded swimming pool, because a lot of people want to swim. You must not swim on Christmas Day. You must not swim on New Year Day. There are other days you can come and swim. In fact, I would advise that you swim maybe on a monthly basis. It's part of what we are talking about. It impacts positively on your health. It impacts positively on your mental health. So you don't need to wait till Christmas or New Year. So there are a lot of dangers associated with swimming in an overcrowded pool.
All right, it's still Flipside on independent television, and we are taking a look at recreation, the impact on physical and mental health. We shall be going on yet another break, and when we return, the program continues. Please stay. Still Flipside on independent television, and we're still discussing the recreation, impact on physical and mental health. Now, gentlemen, let's take a look at recreation from a different perspective this time. Okay, we'll be looking at just two basic aspects of recreation. Which has to do with swimming and sporting activities. What other activities do you think people can indulge in, as it has to do with recreation? Ose, what other things do you think people can do, especially in this festive season, that could also be considered recreational?
Oh, well, I mean, earlier when we actually talked about recreation itself, it has to be something fun, and it's probably a break from your regular day or activities, like a break from the norm, just something different from what you usually do on a daily basis, on a regular day. So it has to be something different. For some people, maybe who are not exactly sports people, it could be maybe taking a walk. For some people, that's just taking a walk for
just
them.
A stroll.
Exactly. And that could actually do a whole lot for them. We talked about the importance in terms of mental well-being. It could be an opportunity to free your mind against the stress from work or the burden. Just another opportunity to clear your mind where you're not exactly thinking of anything urgent at that point in time.
Okay.
Just have your mindset free, and then it could give you an opportunity to be able to rejig your mind, to be able to bring up more and better ideas, to more creative ideas, to improve yourself. Okay. So the importance of getting yourself a recreational activity, it's very, very high. And even if you're not a sports person, there are lots more activities you can actually do. It could be personal within yourself, on your own, that you can actually do to make sure you are not just work every time and then it's just work for you. It could be something different, like a break from the norm, as long as you are having fun and you're also keeping yourself free from your entire work day, keeping work at work, and for your own self, when you're having your own me time, it's definitely just you thinking about your own self and looking for ways to improve your mindset and your body.
Okay, some persons will tell you that the way they recreate is by eating and drinking. Do you agree? Do you agree?
Well, that's hilarious. I believe to each his own, but I mean, there are some activities that at some point it goes beyond being a recreational activity. At this point, you tell yourself, this isn't recreation anymore. You're just doing whatever it is you want to do.
So in other words, it has to be a healthy practice.
Yes, it has to be healthy. I mean, like they say, too much of everything is bad. So you need to watch yourself. Even the good things that are supposed to be for you recreational, you need to also watch them. And even our lifeguard and swimming instructor mentioned that he would advise, maybe if you're doing swimming probably once a month or within a specified amount of time. It's not going to be every hour you go and swim and then you come back another hour, you're back into swimming. It's something you have to guide and you have to watch. So pace yourself, and it has to be regulated for you, because I mean, like I said earlier, too much of everything is bad. So you need to watch the way you do this thing so that recreation that is supposed to help you doesn't become something that exactly. Okay. So it's something you have to watch.
Now, Kelly, do you think there's anything the government can do to, boost the masses' interest in recreation? Because, like we've already established, Nigerians are naturally hustlers. There is absolutely nothing you can tell the average Nigerian. As far as he's concerned, if you don't hustle, you'll die. It's that bad. Now, and it's a good thing because it has actually given us a good name, especially in the diaspora, right? But is there anything you think the government can do, to encourage Nigerians to recreate more? Because whether you like it or not, it's beginning to tell on, the life expectancy rate of the average Nigerian. The more you work, the less you rest, and the more it tells on your health. So what do you think the government can do? Not just the government, of course. There are, other agencies that can also, do a whole lot to help the average Nigerian realize that there's more to life than just work. Like the adage says, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. It's an issue that I'm very passionate about because there's a lot the government has to do.
Okay. A
lot. For instance, a while ago you asked about the safety in engaging in football activities, and some of the activities scare you and all that. The question is that if there's a public place where I have to go for recreational activity, the first question I want to ask myself, how safe is the environment?
Okay.
How safe is the activity itself? And what has been put in place to ensure that I am safe when I go there? And who are the umpires to regulate and ensure my safety if I go there?
Okay.
And this is what private individuals have not been able to do effectively. When you don't have policies in place by the government to ensure that people do the right thing as it relates to safety, they will not do it. No. Nigerians are actually not inclined to do the right thing when it has to do with safety. We just want to make money. We talked about swimming, for instance. How do you take your kids to a swimming pool that is overcrowded? Will you allow your kids to swim in a swimming pool that's supposed to take 25, maximum 30 people? And you go there, you see 50, 60, 70 people in the swimming pool.
Okay.
You will not be encouraged to swim.
Yeah.
You will not be encouraged to have your kids enter a swimming pool like that.
Apart from the hazard, sorry to interrupt, it's not even safe.
It's not safe.
It's not hygienic.
It's not. It's not. There are a lot of hazard associated with swimming in an overcrowded pool. I just use that as an example. Quite a number of recreational environment. We have parks. I think I was told that there's one that the government set up somewhere. I can't remember. There are parks. What are the activities that go on there? Quite a number of activities. The next question is, how safe is the place? Who are the people that ensure safety? Today, I mentioned before that you can have someone act as a lifeguard, even though he does not have a basic training at all.
Okay.
He does not have a basic training. He cannot rescue. He does not have the professional skill when it comes to rescuing. No first aid skill. He cannot perform CPR. How do you expect someone like that to respond in an emergency? How can I be encouraged to take people, or for me to go to an environment like that to swim? And so that's where the government comes in. Policies must be in place to ensure that swimming pool operators, I'm using swimming pool as an example, it cuts across. Yeah. Swimming pool operators must employ lifeguards. We must have policies that set the standard for swimming pool operators so that people are encouraged to come. If I come to a swimming pool and I realize that everything is going on well, there's professionalism from the lifeguard, the place is manned appropriately, and we don't have overcrowding situation, then I'll be encouraged to swim. So this is very important. For instance, in the Western world, in America to be precise, there's what we call PAD, Public Access Defibrillator. A defibrillator is a machine, is a device that is used to restart the heart in case there's a cardiac arrest. And so in public places, in recreational centers, there are machines, there are defibrillators, just in case someone drops and there's a cardiac arrest. The professional lifeguard deploys the defibrillator and he begins the process of administering CPR. He restarts the heart, he performs traditional CPR with the prompting of the defibrillator. And so that system cannot be compared to what we have in this part of the world. So it's very important that government begins to put things in place, set up policy, adopt international policies, and drive the implementation, set up agencies that will monitor the implementation of this policy so that our recreational environment, our recreational spaces become safe, manned by professionals.
All right, thank you so much. Now, there are so many other aspects of recreation that I feel like we haven't really, explored. One of such is the movie industry, for instance. In the Western world, in more civilized, societies, you have people going to the cinema, right? Just for recreational purpose, right? People going to parks, amusement parks. Now, do you think we have enough amusement parks in this part of the world, Ose? I can already see Kelly shaking his head. Of course, you would lend your voice to that. But Ose, what do you think?
I mean, it's something, it follows through from what Mr. Kelly was talking about just now. Government looking to actually improve on what exactly it is that is being done to emphasize on the need for recreation for every Nigerian. I'm using Nigeria right now as a case study for every Nigerian, for us to be able to improve on the importance of recreation for every Nigerian. You talked about the movie industry, going to the cinemas and walk in the park. I mean, for cinemas, you can actually understand that, but a walk in the park, I mean, let's just focus on cinemas. We can actually focus more on that and how we can actually continue to improve on that as well. Like you rightly said, it doesn't have to be just sports. It could be anything at all, as long as it gets you the opportunity to have fun and actually have that peace of mind that you need. You get to free yourself and do something you're actually interested in. If this is something that the government can actually focus on, diversify these things, continue to just spread your wings around, so that if this person doesn't want sports, this person wants this, okay, there is something for everyone.
For everyone.
Exactly. Let it be all encompassing. Let it not seem like, oh, it seems there are a majority of people who want sports, so let's build one swimming pool this way, let's build a footballing center here, a basketball center here, something like that. But this one, it has to be all encompassing. Whatever it is, it has to be geared towards ensuring that we allow people know that this is something that we can actually do, ease our stress, and let it be known. We have to do more in terms of reaching out to these people, let them know the importance of recreation. It doesn't have to be just work every time you're looking to get money, but this is also important. That 1 hour or 2 hours a day that you could spend doing that could be very important to your 24 hours for that day, could play a very important role for you for that 24 hours. So it's something that we need to sound more often to everybody, that this is something that we have to key into, and it's very important for us to continue to focus on this.
All right. Ambassador Kelly, I saw you shaking your head. So I guess you have something to say in that regard.
Okay, just to add something to the point already established. Obviously, the government is not doing enough in providing recreational venues for the people. But for me, even the private sector, those that have provided recreational venues, how are they being managed? That's another important thing. Let's not deceive ourselves. If the government goes ahead to create a lot of parks and recreational centers, the question we must now begin to ask ourselves, how will these recreational parks and venues be managed? How will they be managed? Okay. It's a very important thing.
So you are particularly interested in the management of such
Exactly. Facilities. Even though there are not enough, the question, even those ones that exist, if you set up a recreational center and it's poorly managed, the essence will be defeated.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I mean. Do you know that people who go to recreational venues and they come back sick because the place is not properly managed? There are diseases, transmission of diseases, because there are no professionals managing and manning the place.
You're right. I mean, we've also seen heard stories of people that attended a concert and probably got trampled due to overcrowding.
Yeah. That's the issue. So management is key. Even if you have just two, let us manage it well. It will encourage investors to come in. It must not be the government. Investors will come in, set up these recreational centers, and if it's properly managed, then people will patronize them.
All right. Now, sir, there are people out there who will never listen to you, no matter how much you advise them to go out and recreate. Such people are just naturally stubborn because they believe, see, I need to make this money, especially, in this season of the Yuletide. Everyone wants to make money. What would you advise such persons?
Well, at a point like this where we find ourselves, we are focused more on the money drive and the importance of health. As I say, health is where it cannot be overemphasized. Because if you're working every day and then you're making the money, it's very good, you're happy, and then you're doing it every day, you're making more money, working almost 20 hours a day out of 24 making money, and then you at some point you break down. You end up spending a bulk of that money that you've been able to make on taking care of yourself, when you can actually spend just few hours or minutes a day, give or take, however you choose to fix yourself into recreational activities. Focus more on this in terms of giving yourself the opportunity to rest. I mean, recreational activities are an opportunity for you to rest, relax yourself. Yeah. It provides you with that opportunity to get your mind and free yourself of lots of stress from work. For someone who works in a place that is highly tense, where when you get to the office in the morning, see when you leave, you're under lots of pressure. recreational activity is very important for you to be able to ease yourself off the stress of the day, get your mind thinking something different and fresh again. And in terms of creativity, it can actually help when you actually ease your mind off that stress. You get to calm yourself down, and then you find out that when you are back at home or when you're back in the office again, you are calmer and your ability to think better is higher at this point in time.
Okay.
But if you're just working and then from work you sleep and the next thing you're up again back, at some point you find yourself that you break down. And then that's how you find people you say, oh, I saw this person and it was 100% looking good yesterday, but all of a sudden this person is down at this point. And what exactly happened? It has a ripple effect. When you continue doing this thing over and over again, at some point the human body is going to break down. So you need to give it the opportunity to relax, to ease itself, and then be able to go back all over again to work. And that is just the point we have to emphasize. The need to take care of your health and see recreation to be as important as what exactly you're doing. The money making, it has to be as important as well.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your amazing contributions. I want to say you guys have actually opened my eyes to a whole lot of things as far as recreation is concerned. Once again, thank you for being on the show today. And I hope that the next time I call on you guys to be on the show, you will oblige me.
Sure.
All right.
Definitely.
The show has been Flipside on independent television, and we've been looking at recreation, impact on physical and mental health. Now, you can't overemphasize the need for, recreation. All work and no play, they say, makes Jack a dull boy. So whatever you do while you're out there trying to make ends meet, trying to make money, please prioritize your health, prioritize your entire well-being. It's very important, because if you do not do that, at some point, just like Ose has said, you're going to break down, and we pray that does not happen. Until I come your way again, same time, same station next week, ensure you stay out of trouble and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.